Hey, nerds.
What's up?
Which I have decided is what we're going with for the collective noun for people who watch this objectively nerdy Let's Play / book club channel. So, wow, a lot happened last episode. I wanted to bring up a couple of things.
What things?
Because we, first of all, I didn't say this at the time, but I mentioned it to you after we finished recording, and I wanted to make sure I got it on recording here. We now know for certain that the person whose body they found was not Tomitake.
Why so?
Remember back in Chapter 1, they couldn't identify who he actually was. Remember, there was no paperwork, no identifying thing, no nothing. He was entirely off the grid. They didn't know who this person was. However, they were able to identify the corpse through dental records, which presumably they also would have tried on Tomitake's body, right?
Yep.
Like, you have to assume. So, the body is not Tomitake's.
Who is it this time?
I'm still, again, I'm dancing with the one that brought me. We're going with Mion here. The other thing that's worth noticing is that we do see a couple of things that are the same between chapters, right? The Maebara is getting the phone call, right? I'm waiting on that one, expecting it even.
Yep.
The other detail I wanted to call attention to was Mio's taking pictures.
Yeah.
That's because remember we did see a camera on Tomitake's body last time. However, there was nothing of importance taken on it. And in fact, it seems like he might have been in a different spot because it was his camera that was going off. Keiichi describes it as Tomitake's camera going off during the dance. However, I mentioned this at the time. It could have just been someone with his camera. I don't know why that would be necessary, but like it's good to... Might be good cover. There's a whole bunch of details in there regarding the camera that are interesting, but not necessarily explicitly conflicting. We don't know what's up with Mio just yet, so we don't know what they would make of the pictures on her camera. But you know, it's interesting. Some good details to kind of ruminate over. Really, the thing I wanted to make sure we got known is that we know the body isn't Tomitake's, which means that something at least is different. Let's carry on, shall we?
All right. Continue, probably.
Start it over from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on my way back home. The cries of the Higurashi accentuated the already lonely evening. More time had passed than I thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down little by little by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb toward Hinamizawa, without even noticing I'd gone off my bicycle and was pushing it uphill. Okay, so Hinamizawa was uphill from the town, so it's easier to get into town than back. Okay. I don't understand any of this. No one had told me to my face that I'd done something wrong. Also interesting to note here whether or not he sees Tomitake's body. Because remember, that's where it was during Chapter 1.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It really was no more than a quiet prank. No more than having the courage to cross at a red light, as long as you did it with other people. The storehouse for ritual implements, hallowed ground, only accessible by the family of the priest. For sure, I'd seen terrifying things that I'd never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, though, it didn't matter what was stored away inside. It didn't make the wrong I had committed any more right. What the four of us did, Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? I don't know that that's it as much as they were expecting Tomitake and Mio to be the ones that died and something didn't happen, maybe. Because we do know that from the tip last time that the police seem to be almost resignedly kind of aware that something is going to happen. Right?
Yep.
They were talking about like how they were waiting for contact from the doctor. About how they knew, like they were expecting not just like the curse to go off, but were like, okay, now we should be getting alerted about the body. It's like there's a level of resigned awareness to it. So it could be the case that they were expecting Tomitake and Mio to be the victims. Did we do something bad? Really? It doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. It was nothing more than that, and yet I couldn't accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Ooishi-san. All I did was shield myself with ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that again either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I apologize like that, would they forgive me? The suddenly cool evening air left no room for such sentiment. However, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile on top of regrets, but nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home, go to my room, and put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. That plan might sound plain and boring, but it's probably the strongest I've felt all day. Now that I've made a decision, there's no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike, pushed hard on the pedals, and rapidly advanced forward, steadily gaining speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. Not gonna... do you have, a light or something? You are biking at night. Interesting. So it makes a point of him getting off his bike and walking along that part of the road there. I do believe that is the area, the little hill was described as the area because the body was found near where the road turned from gravel to paved, right? And there was also, that description of a hill going up into town. I think it's fair to say he would have seen the body. Although, yeah, because it was even within a light, right?
I don't recall.
I believe in Chapter 1, Tomotaka's body was within the light, which is why it was seen. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself early and returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs.
Keiichi, you have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san.
Sonozaki? Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She'd said something she wanted to tell me today. Oishi-san had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Interesting how they're still here. Weren't they expecting a call about needing to go into Tokyo or something?
They were expecting a call about something.
Shion had said she'd call that night. Hello? Is that you, Shion?
Hello. Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we?
She said it so plainly I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the... Oh, that's her.
Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan.
I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden you left me there, and after that I had to put up with that Oishi guy for ages.
Don't complain to me about it.
I can't believe she passed it off like that. She looks just like Mion, and yet inside she's this different? I got a little irritated at myself when I realized I was, somewhere in my mind, hoping for the same reaction I would get from Mion, even though she's a different person. Sorry. Next time I'll run away first thing and leave you there.
Hey, it's ladies first.
Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just as she said. The cause of my temper was because it was my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be... Would be what? Blaming it on others would be... I'm interested. Anyway, you had something to tell me, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating. Do you already know?
Shion lowered her voice suddenly as if she were glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know. I'm sorry, but I have no clue what you're talking about. At least give me a hint.
So that means you don't know.
She seemed to take my stupid-sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the slightest.
Actually, it's about last night during the Watanagashi festival.
My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion going to ask the same thing?
Hello? Kei-chan, are you listening?
Yeah, I am. What about last night?
The four of us went in there, right?
She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth. And I couldn't act like it hadn't happened.
Then after that, we walked away together and then went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Takano-san and Tomitake-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan. I went over to see some relatives.
Yeah, why do you ask?
We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions, so let me ask this question first, okay?
You mean, did I see Tomitake and Takano-san last night?
Huh? Oh, yes. Did you see the two of them after that?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I've been asked this question today. Why? Why? What the hell is going on? Why are you asking me that?
No, Kei-chan, I'm asking the question. Please answer me.
Did you, Shion? If you answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now after everything that had happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments, just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my mouth. She finally answered me.
Of course, I didn't see them. My relatives were with me and they can vouch for that.
I didn't see them either. People could vouch for me too, like Mio and Rena and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh that sounded more relieved than anything else.
Thank you for answering me honestly. Okay then, I'll tell you. Apparently, last night Takano-san and Tomitake-san died.
I'm sorry, Shion. What was that you just said?
Apparently, last night Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. Takano-san was found burned to death.
Okay.
Tomitake-san was, well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it.
Interesting. Late last night, a police car back on its way back from festival security duty had discovered Tomitake-san lying in the middle of the road, heading toward Okinomiya. He had clawed out his own throat and died. Interesting that is the same. Okay, and the implication that Mio, her body is burned and hidden somewhere, but
maybe they didn't find it last time, and coincidentally, something made it so they did this time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Or maybe something is substantially different.
The thing is, like, she even made a point of talking about how long you have to burn someone before that, right? In order to make them a crisp like that. She's like, you could do it for over a day. Would they have been able to do that quickly to her?
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. What? He clawed out his own throat? That bright, cheerful Tomitake-san committed suicide? That can't possibly be right.
The police did an autopsy. He did it with his own fingernails. He scratched at his throat so hard that he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out. He died in a pool of his own blood. That's what they said.
Interesting. Okay. Now this makes me more likely to believe that this is kind of like that whoever dies tonight was indeed kind of decided in advance. And like they had some knowledge that it was supposed to be them tonight. Never heard of such an insane suicide. You can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I realized I was yelling too loudly, so I lowered the force I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my room. Sorry for yelling. So, Takano-san, was that a suicide too?
In her case, it's a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture. Employees at a rest stop nearby reported to the police late that night that they could see flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched there were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded that it was the burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after there was a request for a dental comparison from the redacted prefectural police station in Okinomiya, and the results concluded that it was Mio Takano.
Interesting. It's like they knew to ask.
What do you mean?
This happened in a different prefecture. This happened in Gifu Prefecture. They like why would the police, like why else would the police station in a different prefecture know to call about a crime that hadn't even been officially.
If you found Jane Doe and it didn't match up with any case you had open in your prefecture, you might ask a neighboring station from somewhere across the boundary line.
That's not what happened. Okinomiya specifically requested it. They're the ones that came in and been like, "Hey, that could be one of ours." It's like they knew to be. I'm feeling a little. Something smells here, and it's not just Mio's body.
The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely to have been a homicide since she was in her undergarments and her clothes were nowhere in the area.
Interesting.
She got her wish.
Yeah, she did.
She said that if it was between the two, she'd rather be the one who disappeared than the one who got murdered, right?
I don't know. Lighting a thing on fire and then letting people see out somewhere where people could see it doesn't feel like you want them to disappear. That feels like you want them to find it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't match, like... I mean, again, I've also expressed my opinion that maybe they're not as committed to the disappearing part of the curse as they are the death part.
Mm-hmm.
But that definitely doesn't seem like you want her to disappear. That definitely feels like... especially if this is like meant to be really important and orchestrated, that you wanted someone to find it. Either that or you weren't taking precautions to make sure she wasn't found, which is inconsistent with the amount of effort and work you've put into maintaining this facade for several years now, if that makes sense. It couldn't possibly have been suicide. If you're going to die, there are plenty of easier ways, aren't there? This can't be suicide.
That's what I think. It's unthinkable that Tomitake-san would kill himself, too.
After the two of us rattled on at each other, there was a silence as we paused to catch our breaths. And as we calmed our nerves, right then I understood what Shion's story actually meant. I think it'll end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it after all.
Oh. I think that's Shion.
Oh.
I think it'll end up being Oyashiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it after all.
Deserve? You gotta be kidding me. It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of me blaming others. It didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost to my own half-assed sense of adventure and agreed to go in with them. It was my fault, no one else's.
I'm imagining the murderers abducting Takano and her being like, oh, what are you gonna do? Burn me to death? Slowly roast me for 3 days over a fire? Oh, no, until they finally give up and let her go. And they're like, this lady is too weird. I don't want to murder her anymore. It seems like she might be into that.
Shion, last night, when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way?
Of course not. I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never even dreamed something like this could happen.
Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she could get in trouble if we were caught, but that was the thrill of this little adventure, right? It was the same for me.
Besides that, Kei-chan, think about it for a moment. Didn't Oyashiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year?
It was already plenty strange seeing as how Tomitake-san and Takano-san died like that. Given all that, what could possibly be stranger?
I mean that they found 2 corpses. Remember what I said? Every other year, one person would die and one person would disappear. This is the first time 2 people have been found dead.
That may be true, but that's not that huge of a deal, is it?
It is, Kei-chan. Think about it harder. Listen, if 2 people died because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, then in order to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed.
Is that how it works? So what? Tomitake-san and Takano-san died. So now 2 people are going to go missing this year? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze.
I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet. I think that those 2 people have yet to disappear.
Again, making assumptions and just kind of running with it. Because not only have they started with the assumption that this must be the curse, as in like a supernatural thing that is happening, but also that this is the way that logic works out. Are
they assuming it's a supernatural thing happening? Seems like they're assuming that a tradition of human sacrifice is still around.
Okay, let me. They are assuming that their explanation that this ritual sacrifice thing is happening is the explanation for what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And they are assuming that this is the logic that must follow, that if 2 people die, then 2 people must disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't... That's 2 very big assumptions that I don't buy into. But Keiichi, of course, as we all know, as hopefully I convincingly demonstrated in Chapter 1, will absolutely just go along with it, because it's the worst possible interpretation of what's happening, so... Therefore, the K-Man is down for it. Down to DTF. Down to freak out. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back. 2 people have yet to disappear? Shion didn't answer. I couldn't say more than that either. A chill crept into my clothes and tried to wrap into a fist around my heart. Cold hands feeling about on my chest. Ooh, I like that description. It reminds me a lot of, sidebar. It reminds me a lot of the description of the, Witch's Curse in ReZero. The hand, the icy hand going into his chest and going around his heart. Sorry. Just came to mind. Neither of us could say anything. Tomitake-san opened the lock, and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse, and she died. If 2 more people were to be sacrificed, then they would be none other than the ones who had entered with them. None other than us. Again. Just rolling with that. No, this has got to be a joke. I wanted so much for her to pass this off as a joke even now. That, though, was such an incredibly difficult and selfish request. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had died in a common way like a car accident, I could tell myself it was coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his own throat. She burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary, couldn't possibly dismiss it as mere coincidence. Burned to death, drowned in oil in the mountains. Okay, but the thing fell over. So if it fell over, that means the oil would have gotten out and she wouldn't have burned as thoroughly as they wanted her to. Presumably.
Yeah, maybe that's the difference.
Maybe the difference here is that, like, that was their way of disposing of a body completely.
Yeah, and in chapter 1, it burned all the way, and all they found was, like, oh, there's some unidentified Jane Doe remains that never became a thing.
Maybe, or maybe they didn't even find them in chapter 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's, like, where the mistake happened here. I mean, it's not that uncommon. Like, you see that in a lot of works that come later, like, of just, like, that being out. I don't think burning a person is a great way to fully dispose of a body. If you want to, like, but I also don't know what else they would have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not Walter White out here where they've got, like, access to the perfect chemicals to completely dissolve a human body on a moment's notice. Did you get to that season?
Yeah, but also, isn't that, like, not secret, super special chemicals? Isn't that just normal shit you can get at a hardware store?
Well, yeah, but, like...
I was going to say, I feel like probably they do.
They also don't have the benefit of burying it in the middle of the New Mexico desert.
True. Instead, they have the benefit of burying it in remote rural Japan.
That's true. If
in
only
places where there's enough space far away that you wouldn't hear someone shout.
If only there was a concrete foundation for a huge industrial project being put together nearby. Ugh, that would just be perfect. No, too bleak? It was as if in exchange for sneaking into the ritual storehouse, there must be someone punishing us. Some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. And so I still didn't want to accept the terrifying truth. If I did, I would have had to acknowledge that a horrible crisis was growing near for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued knowing I was running away. In the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it? Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television. Magazine writers would flood the village, too, thinking it'd make for an interesting story.
Of course it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past, too.
Wasn't it explicitly not how it was in the past? Didn't we, like, hear from the police chief in chapter 1 that this was literally, the serial murders were literally, or the serial curse victims were literally having some level of global interest, and that they really wanted people, especially the police department, to tamp down on talking to people so it would stop spreading like that.
Mm-hmm.
That feels exactly wrong with what Shion is saying here.
Not necessarily. We had that like big burst of publicity for the first one, and then folks trying to get tamped down on coverage and so on. So that would line up, right? If folk stopped talking to the media and kept it all hush-hush for all of those times after the first one.
It wasn't just after the first one, though. The police chief's memo came out, mentioned specifically the housewife murder as well. So that meant that at least at that point, which would have been a few months before now, the level of interest in the cases was still large enough that he felt he needed to, like, clamp down internally and be like, we need to stop talking about this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure it makes I'm not sure it's a huge difference to argue this point. It's just, it's something I noticed. And also, we saw newspaper clippings. Of course it was reported. When the incidents occurred for the third year in a row, there were some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Hinamizawa. Fearing the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it became a big conspiracy where no information about the incidents was allowed to be leaked to the media.
See, that's what I figured.
Oh, okay. Hold on, and last year was the housewife incident, wasn't it? Mrs. married into the Hojo family. Yeah, Sadako stuff. Yeah, okay. So that does line up. Okay, so never mind. Okay, this does give some context to how that worked out and stuff. I retract it. This is definitely...
Yeah, I hear the elders and the top brass from the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police.
Then you mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy?
That's how it is. Of course the police are investigating it. That's being performed in secret too, though, so I hear the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do. You could essentially say they're interfering with a police investigation.
The story was unbelievable. I like how she says the Sonozaki family, like she's not a part of it. So like, yeah, the Sonozaki family are doing this, how terrible. What's your family name again there, Shion? People died, and yet they don't publicize it and deal with everything in secret.
If we break it down further, it means that no matter who dies on the night of Watanagashi, it won't go public.
That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard.
Kei-chan, before, I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse.
Shion doesn't call him Kei-chan. This is Mion. Oh, okay, so Mion's not dead. Weird. But she's in danger? Because I don't believe it was her that showed up to school in the morning. Interesting. I wonder if that is the signifier to pick up on, but I'm very certain we've never heard Shion call him Kei-chan. Right, okay, please continue.
That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Watanagashi under the guise of it being Oyashiro-sama's curse.
Yeah. When someone dies on the night of the Watanagashi, it turns into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The curse turns into the serial murder incidents. In order to avoid exacerbating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret. That's insane! Dead and missing people turn up every year! However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, don't they?
You could say the incidents happening every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. It doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of Watanagashi every year. That's all it turns into.
Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get away and stay away, but the events were totally exposed and elucidated, so it was, in essence, resolved. The damn supporting couple who died in an accident on the second year, that was an accidental death, plain and simple. They made a lot of investigations into the possibility of it having been a homicide, but they turned up nothing. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. On the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital at his deathbed, and they all had trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy. It concluded there wasn't a homicide. That was resolved, too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the damn supporting couple was murdered. No, her body was found on that day. Again, that's important. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed he thought Oyashiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while in prison, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. Oh yeah, the spork one. The one where you swallowed a spork. It's unknown if it was an accident or suicide. Unknown if accidental or suicidal swallowing of a spork. No other interpretation for what might have happened there. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another. Each was independently resolved.
Takano just decided to go for a late night hike and got a little clumsy near the oil barrel while lighting up a cigarette.
And I already talked at length in the discussion episode about my opinions on the fact that there are culprits that have been arrested for these acts, right? I'm not going to repeat all that here, but anyway.
So then why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year on the night of Watanagashi? You can try and say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related. Yet every year, someone always dies and someone always disappears.
The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup. Now that the curse really had occurred this year, I couldn't just laugh it off. Does that mean it'll come for us too, just like how one person dies? One person disappears every year. You're saying we'll be taken along with Tomitake-san and Takano-san and erased too? My lips had at some point become completely dry. And just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she could give me.
We went somewhere we shouldn't have. Oh, this is probably...
we went somewhere we shouldn't have, but we were just looking, right? We didn't steal anything or take anything out. We didn't tell anyone that we looked, right? I was already regretting having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomitake-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all. And Mion doesn't know what place he's talking about. He hasn't said the name of because he is assuming that this is Shion.
Didn't they talk about it at earlier in this? We went quite a bit back at the beginning of the conversation. We went into the ritual storehouse.
Did that, or was that him recapping to himself?
It was stated in quotes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's going to be way back before.
Is it?
But I'm pretty sure it was directly stated in this conversation.
Okay. So there's no chance that Mion here might misunderstand the nature of what place they saw and what Keiichi is claiming not to care anything about.
I mean,
because that was my initial.
Those are different things. The two things you said, not knowing where it is and not knowing what he's claiming to know nothing about. One could know the one and not the other.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to think of depending on what is explicitly stated and what is not explicitly stated.
Mm-hmm.
If this is indeed Mion on the other end of the line, then then it's important to know what she thinks this conversation is about. Because I'll trust you on this one. But if Keiichi hadn't explicitly said the ritual storehouse.
Notably, it wasn't Keiichi that said it. It was the person on the other end of the line.
Oh.
Keiichi was saying I didn't want to say it, but there was I couldn't. After it was said so clearly, there's nothing I could say to disagree.
Right. Okay. So she will. Okay. I understand now.
So I think that whoever this is either knows or believes and wanted to find out that Keiichi was in there.
Right. Okay. It's Threon. Okay. That checks out. All right. So then, the question becomes, what was actually in there that was... Because it's not just a bunch of implements that clearly haven't been used in a very long time. That doesn't, that's historical ephemera. That's creepy, cool, but not indicative of any present conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is dangerous for Keiichi, it's because there was something else in there that was part of a present conspiracy. Something that he didn't see. And remember, there was the lights are maintained in there. People do go in and out. We don't know what Takano-san was. We didn't know what she saw before she left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that there could be a misunderstanding here in when Keiichi says, I don't care about anything I saw in there at all. Mion might think he's talking about something else.
Mm.
And again, I'm hard assuming this is Mion, just because she called him Kei-chan. Takano-san was the only one getting so happy over it, wasn't she? She was the only one at fault. I don't have anything to do with this. I'm not interested. I'm not involved. I don't give a single shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self in the innermost depths of my heart, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotion had broken through the dam and I couldn't stop them anymore. I didn't have any interest in any of this from the start, damn it. All I wanted to do was watch her performance. You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion? I don't give a rat's ass whether those two were trying to steal something or trying to meet up secretly or whatever. So you're the one who made me go in there in the first place. You're all Kei-chan. You need to see what's inside, and you convinced me to pull me in. Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you going to do, damn it? How are you going to take responsibility for this, huh? You listen. Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the sound of a receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. My riled-up emotions disappeared as if they'd never existed, and in their place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I could try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. Went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okonomiya. I didn't know her phone number, and redial isn't a thing that exists yet. Since I had declared to Mion I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's phone number either. I was so scared. And how convenient that I couldn't just call Mion and then get a definitive answer to this whole thing, huh? I couldn't even call her back. Oh, again, another very, this is a 1980s phone problem. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand and simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion, calm down and call me again. Ring, 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 ring.
Murder phone, murder phone.
Hello, this is Maebara. I spoke to the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at the exact moment.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah!
Which of us wants to be the mayor?
Sorry, this is really cool. I am fucking all about this.
Yeah?
Let's see.
I can be the mayor.
You're gonna have a better read on how many situations they'll be involved in. Kimiyoshi's a guy, right?
Yeah.
You'll have a better read on how many situations he'll be involved in and what characters. Would it make more sense for me or you to take it?
I can be the mayor, it's fine.
Okay, go for it.
Is this the Maebara residence? Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household?
It was the...
What? The voice of a girl?
What?
I don't remember this scene and I don't know who's talking.
What the Hold on one moment here. The voice of a girl. Did I just assume the mayor was a guy? Or Kimiyoshi? It could be some... Because the family name was Kimiyoshi, right? So this is... Hold on. Yeah, okay, so the mayor is Kishiro Kimiyoshi. So this is the voice... Not a woman, but a girl. Interesting. Oh, fascinating. A girl who clearly wasn't not a woman, but a girl. Daughter?
Could be.
Clearly in the family. Okay. Okay. What? Let's see if Keiichi recognizes them from school or not. Because if it's the Kimiyoshi's... If it's Kishiro's daughter... Kishiro Kimiyoshi is a guy, right? I do have that right?
As far as I know, unless I'm badly misremembering.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm using right pronouns and stuff. Oh, my hopes rushed out of me. No, it isn't. If you need Dad, I'll go call him. Went to put the receiver back down, but the caller stopped me hurriedly.
Oh, no. If he's busy, then it's fine. This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit?
No one's here at the moment.
I see. Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night. Goodbye.
What the fuck? Is the mayor paying them a visit at the moment? So there is stuff going on between the Maebaras and the mayor. Interesting. fascinating. Almost like they were involved in the conspiracy from the first moment, like I postulated back in chapter 1. Because we know Kimiyoshi is a member of is one of the 3 families, right? Clack. I don't know who that was, but what if Shion tried to call while I was on the phone? I thought, bubbling with egotistic anger. Wait, give it a break, Keiichi Maebara. These are the selfish emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, the more I thought that Shion had given up hope in the short time since we had our conversation and didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Keiichi Maebara. If Shion does call again, first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again that night. Oh, this is good! Sorry. All right, 6-7 and late night phone call.
Alrighty. Not continue yet.
All right. Let me drop a save here. Interesting. The achievement says close calls. Form an alliance. Alliance with whom? Whom did we form an alliance with? We kind of yelled at quote unquote Shion until we made her feel really bad about things. Let's see here. Ooh, late night phone call is the background of for the phone booth stuff. Let's read the scrapbook some more. This is still Mio's scrapbook, presumably.
Reading to you from beyond the grave. Ooh. The significance of Watanagashi. Watanagashi, a festival of hunting for sacrifices and feasting on them. While the festival itself is remarkable, it has come to be considered a form of entertainment as well. Perhaps it was because of the disparity between being both an egregious act and a form of entertainment that the perpetrators began to believe themselves transcendent. However, I found some very interesting literature that appears to raise questions about that explanation. As with most oral traditions, it's not easily swallowed, but it does mention a few things that spark my interest. According to this literature, even the residents of Onigafuchi village felt fear towards this ritual. Women and children would grow pale and tremble, and those of weak constitution would vomit. But it's said that the feast, the dissection, was an obligatory viewing. This is an extremely curious tale. Until now, I'd thought that the residents of Onigafuchi village were fascinated by the Watanagashi ritual. They looked down on those vulgar, barbaric humans, cut them open like fish, and by eating them they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least, that's what I thought. However, if what the villagers gained from this ritual was not fascination but fear, then that would suggest the ritual meant something entirely different. There's the possibility that the executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to strictly follow religious precepts created by those with power for their own convenience.
Can I sidebar real quick here?
Yeah?
It's really interesting to me how that reading of it matches perfectly with what I was saying back in chapter 1 about the demons being the Sonozaki family, and then the villagers being the kind of the receivers of the fear they create, and the ones being kept in line by them. So again, I think it's really fascinating that reading still seems to apply here.
While we were talking earlier today, before this episode, you were like, oh darn, it seems like this folklore explanation doesn't line up with my theory about that. And it's like, just wait for this book entry.
Because we were talking earlier today about how I was like, the game's providing of a folkloric explanation for these murders seems like, again, like another one of those times where it's trying to offer an alternative to what the theory I came up with. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was the prevailing theory, but it definitely seems like at least some other people came to that conclusion, and the game wanted to provide an alternative. Which is, again, another way in which I feel like I'm doing at least an okay job if the game is feeling the need to respond specifically to some of the stuff I was thinking about. Yee. Anyway, please carry on now.
Onigafuchi village has been effectively ruled over by 3 old families called the Three Families. Without investigating the 3 families, I probably won't get any closer to the truth of Onigafuchi village.
But you're not going to tell us who they are? Come on, Mio. What the hell? Just someone list what the last one is. We know the Sonozakis are one of them. The Kimiyoshi family is another. And then who's the third? I want to know.
The Three Families.
Thank you.
The Three Families refers to the 3 old families who effectively came to rule Onigafuchi village. To break it down, there was the Kimiyoshi family, the Furude family, and the Sonozaki family.
I told you it was the Furudes.
You did?
Yeah. That was like my number. That was one of my like main guesses for who the third family was.
Really? I could have sworn you didn't guess that. I could have sworn that you guessed that it was something else.
No, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. Hey, SK, I know this is a lot of work, but go ahead, go back to the last episode or the episode before that. Find the part where you said what you thought about this. Put it in here, and then one of us will have won the argument.
Which families do you think they might be?
If this is Mio's scrapbook, and she's the one... If this is indeed Mio's scrapbook, the 3 families to her probably mean the 3 families involved with the curse so far, which would be the Hojos, the Furude Shrine, the Hojos, the Furudes, and the Ryugus. Like family in that context almost evokes a sense of like Yakuza family. Like I'm like, does that somehow refer to the Sonozakis? Is that why there's so many Sonozaki uncles? Because it's 3 families worth of Sonozakis.
Anyway, at worst case, 2/3 incorrect, right? So one way or another, that's a passing grade. So good job.
What do you mean at worst 2/3 incorrect?
Sorry, 2/3 correct at worst.
Okay, yeah. So cool. D's get degrees.
Yeah. Though they don't have as much control as they did in the remote past, they still hold considerable influence today. The 3 families are considered by legend to be those in whom the blood of the swamp demons runs the thickest. The Kimiyoshi family. The Kimiyoshi family appears to have held great power as the head of the 3 families, but it doesn't have that kind of leadership today. The current mayor of the village, Keiichi Kimiyoshi, is from this family. The fact that members of the Kimiyoshi family are elected as mayor every generation is thought to be a remnant of the old system. Of course, as no rival candidates appear, it doesn't change the fact that the Kimiyoshi family holds the mayoral office even through popular elections in the post-war era. The Furude family. The center of the village's faith since ancient times, the Furude clan has guarded the sole shrine dedicated to Oyashiro-sama. They were worshipped as the only people to represent the voice of Oyashiro-sama for a long time. But the family branched off after the war and lost most of its power. It now consists of only the main house. The main house as well presently consists of only one daughter, Rika Furude, so the lineage may end in this generation. There is apparently an old tradition of honoring females of the Furude family, so the only daughter, Rika, is the subject of much respect among the elderly of the village. The Sonozaki family. It's said that this family had a certain police-like role of protecting the religious precepts of Onigafuchi village. Of the 3 families, their relatively weak position can be seen from me putting them here last.
Relatively weak position? You mean historically?
Presumably.
That does.
Yeah, the next sentence is going to say the other thing. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Why do I say things?
You got it before it said it. You're ahead of the game. That's how you win. That's how you win Higurashi.
That's how you win at reading.
Yeah.
And as we all know, the purpose of reading is not enjoyment or the fun of putting a puzzle together. It's winning.
Of course, today the Sonozaki family is flourishing, and the state of affairs among the 3 families has completely reversed. Even now, one could say that they are in control of Hinamizawa. The 3 families conferring with each other is similar to the old way. The current head of the Sonozaki family, Oryo, essentially decides all of the goings-on in the village by herself.
Interesting. So is that the current head of the Sonozaki family? So that's Mion's grandmother.
Seems like it.
What do you mean? Like, that's a yes or no
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah, it is.
Okay. No, sorry. Because we know the head is her grandmother. Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay. So Oreo is her grandmother. Be like, don't seems like it. This is a factual thing.
Maybe she has 2 grandmothers and they're identical.
I mean, I hope she has 2 grandmothers. Maybe one's not alive anymore, but that's the normal number of grandmothers to have.
Okay. My statement was a little stupid. I'll admit this. Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? Yes. No, not at all. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Well, you see, I do apologize for calling at this hour, but I was wondering if our old man was visiting you at the moment. You got that right, yes. Once again, I'm very sorry for calling so late. Goodbye.
Is that the same text as the call with Keiichi?
I don't think so.
Click.
So that's probably somebody else talking to her.
So, no good?
I'm not sure what to do. He may be passionate about it, but he always at least gives us a call.
You called everyone he plays Go with, didn't you? Bring. So he plays Go with the Maebara family.
Apparently.
Interesting.
Hello, this is Kimiyoshi. Which Sonozaki do we think it is?
I'm gonna say this is Shion.
Okay. This is...
Or I think this might be Mion still.
Okay. This is Sonozaki. How did it go? Have you found the mayor?
Ha!
Oh, Mion-chan. I called everyone I could think of, but I came up with nothing.
Interesting. So they're friends. They're friends enough where she calls her Mion-chan.
We can't find him. What do I do? Where could he be idling about? I put a word in with a bunch of people who might have had an idea, but nobody did. I asked Nana about it, and she said we should get the men of the village together to search for him. At this hour? I mean, it's not like he's definitely gone missing. What Tanagashi just happened, she thinks we should be a little more cautious. If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police tomorrow morning. Whether or not we find him, though, we should refrain from making any false accusations. Oryo-san said that? Yes. If you can't trust her without hearing her voice, then I can put her on for you. No, that's fine. I understand.
Interesting. I like how they're preempting one of the things like, ooh, is Oreo going to be Miss not appearing in this narrative? Is Oreo-san real?
We'll get the men together and search. If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police in the morning. She'll leave it to you to organize the men. I'll be there as well as Nana's representative. Thank you. I'll get everyone together immediately. Thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Interesting. Ooh. Oh. Interesting that the mayor would go missing. The mayor was also one I pegged in chapter 1 as the one who would probably die the next year. So that's fascinating to me. Fascinating. Give me a high five. Yeah.
Well, this is all well and good. They've had one of the 2 disappearances, so just one more and Keiichi will be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh, there's no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What did I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. And yet I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. So the battery died by the morning. Right? That's another thing that people don't remember is that the battery will die really quick if it's not on the cradle. Oh, man. Morning came. By that time, I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That's when a fierce drowsiness assailed me. Damn it, this is no time for sleep, Keiichi Maebara. I slapped myself in the face a few times. I went to the washroom, washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. It wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide.
What's wrong, Keiichi? Are you going somewhere today?
Yeah, to school? What do you mean, are you going somewhere today? What a strange thing. Did she mean it in the way of like to be like, you don't look good, maybe you should stay home?
Maybe.
Are you going somewhere today? What a strange thing to say to someone. And how many days was it after the Watanagashi where Keiichi became convinced he was going to die that day? It wasn't this day. Because this is the second day after Watanagashi.
Yeah.
I think it was the day after that?
Probably. I don't remember how many days it was.
It was within a very small number of days after the Watanagashi.
Yeah. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good today. Do you have a cold?
I'm not sick. I just didn't get much sleep. I space out and start talking nonsense just to humor me, all right?
I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say. I wonder.
Oh, I hope I say so many things that are incriminating. Because we all know everyone listens to me when I think I'm talking to myself. And that also that anything I'm thinking internally is written on my face, basically. I can't keep a secret. I'm the worst person to put myself in this compromising position willingly.
Now I'm looking forward to it.
I felt utterly shattered and still hadn't picked myself back up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rena's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes.
Yo, what's up, Kei-chan? Rena?
Hello there. Hello there. Mion is... Are you Mion? You're calling him Kei-chan.
Good morning. What? Mi-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either. Interesting.
Because that wasn't Mion. That wasn't Shion that called you last night. That was Mion. Okay, so Mion had come home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired.
3? Right after yesterday? You know, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of a manga. Thought it was interesting to read the entire series, didn't you? I understand, I've done that before. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither of them smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. Rena's expression immediately darkened.
What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found.
Interesting how Rena knows already. Okay, so Rena already knows this. Which means that either Rena is the mayor's daughter, or Rena's parents, the people she lives with, play go with the mayor on a regular basis.
It'd be weird if the mayor's daughter was calling around and was Rena and introduced herself as Kimiyoshi and wasn't recognized by Keiichi.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Keiichi would have recognized her voice. Never mind. That would be weird. That would be weird. Plus, we already know who Rena's secretly personality is. We already know that. We already know, and it's Satoshi Hojo. Trans Rena theory.
I don't know. We could just keep stacking the extra identities on Rena. Like, once you put one on there, well, what's the cost of putting another?
Why not just keep piling them on?
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone is Rena.
Everyone is Rena. How many people can we fit into this one small girl?
Nope.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can't find the mayor? Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today.
Oh, good morning, Keiichi-san. You'll never mistake my voice. Have you heard? It looks like something terrible has happened.
Okay, so whoever you live with also plays Go with the mayor. And playing Go with the mayor could just be playing Go or could be having important dealings with.
Who doesn't play Go with the mayor at this point?
I don't know.
Does he just constantly vanish in the evening and impose himself on random townsfolk for a game at 9 p.m.? Because his daughter didn't seem that worried at first.
Uh-huh.
So, does he just do this?
Playing Go might be a euphemism.
Go is fun.
I wouldn't know. I don't play Go. I play Mahjong.
I see.
So do you now.
Not very well, but yes.
Because of this frickin' game, we learned how to play Mahjong out of spite. I don't really know this mayor person, but he's an old guy, right? Couldn't he just be wandering around senile?
The mayor is certainly not senile. He's a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship.
He probably got lost somewhere, like me. A lost Rika? I want to take you home with me.
Interesting. Getting lost is only cute because children like Rika-chan do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats. Am I the teacher? I'm the teacher. I forgot. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy. Some of you may have already heard, but last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home. Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? One or two hands went up in the silence, and they told her about having seen him. So not anyone Keiichi recognizes. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves. If anyone has seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, all right? Now then, let us begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quieted, blossomed into flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Okay, so... Excuse me. There wasn't anything about the mayor disappearing in Chapter 1, right? I don't recall anything about that. Maybe it happened and just wasn't brought up, but as we can see, the teacher... Not only if the mayor... So if the mayor went missing, his daughter? Question mark? Would very much call around about it, and people would know, and it would be discussed at school the next day.
Yep.
So it's... I think I could say with confidence that didn't happen in Chapter 1.
Yeah, this seems to be a definite difference.
Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the Shrine's Assembly Hall. Interesting, the Shrine Assembly Hall, as we know, is quite important. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set, and everyone left. The Elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late, and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. No one saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there may have been an accident. He left no stone unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they couldn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. Police were going to wait for daylight, then have the young man of the town help search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently even going to go looking in the mountains. Even now at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of Onikakushi, the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? That scary possibility, which everyone thought about, but no one could say aloud, was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to one another that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, knew. The curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. It's almost like that's not how people are chosen to... It's fine. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been Shion and I next. This time it should have been Shion and I, eh? I left painfully to myself. And as we all know, everyone hears it when Keiichi talks to himself, so thanks. Thanks for that, Keiichi. Just great job. I had yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Onikafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. Well, right, because if they'd been found, they wouldn't have been missing, and okay. They'd always suspected Onikafuchi, but not once have they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp from which no one sinks can ever return. They haven't turned up a corpse, but they have turned up personal effects.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that could just be as easy as tossing them in there, right? That the lack of organic evidence is what's really... I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom.
Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he?
What? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. He was, Oh, right, he disappeared because of last year's curse, right? The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly.
Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-san, too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah, I heard he withdrew all his savings and ran away from home. Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train at Nagoya Station.
Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons, too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. Not like any of them suddenly disappeared into thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whether the curse took a life as if by design. Whenever the curse took a life as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything.
It looks like I messed up the seasoning today. Sorry.
Normally, Rena's lunch would have been devoured immediately, but today there was still a ton left. It wasn't because her lunch didn't taste good or anything, though.
That isn't the case. Your lunch today is delicious as always.
Sadako dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other.
Yum, yum, yum. Yes, delicious indeed. Today in particular, in fact, jump, jump, jump. You have made the gremlin happy this day.
Huh? You know those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay?
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it does.
Huh? Yes. If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious.
Pumpkin's great. Like actual pumpkin, not just like the canned stuff you put in like a pumpkin pie, but like actual pumpkin is really good and shit. Did Sadako dislike pumpkin? Does she know what a pumpkin is? I think is the more important question here.
Pumpkin, that's the green one, right? No, is it the white one? No, the green.
Okay, to be fair, pumpkins can be green, but... Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Everyone knew. No one's lunch tasted very good today. Sadako kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was. If it's that good, then I guess I gotta have some too, huh? Sadako's gonna eat it all if we let her.
It is just so good. I would certainly like it if Keiichi-san were to eat some as well.
Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right? Alright, don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for the both of us today. Also, like how they were talking about Satoshi, and Sadako was just like,
I'm not going to get involved in this. I have nothing to say on the matter.
She really, really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see her own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Sadako, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way. You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Rena, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew, but it tastes great after having sat overnight.
Yeah, the daikon radish has such a pretty color going through it. It looks delicious. I guess I'll have some then.
I guess it works on the Chinese food principle, where it gets even better when you reheat it the second day.
The chili principle.
Yep. That is absolutely true with chili.
Yeah.
Chili is the best once it's already been warmed up and served once, and then you reheat it a second time, and you're like, this is divine. This is what ambrosia must be like. This is the food of the gods.
Oh, it's been ages since we got the slow cooker out and made chili.
God, we have a rice cooker now. We didn't last time we did chili. We should absolutely make a point of doing that at some point.
Maybe for my birthday or something. Chili night.
Absolutely. If we had time to plan, we have time to plan for that. We can make that happen. Rena reached out with her chopsticks, and at last the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desks, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recurred for 5 years in a row, did not cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in the somber mood.
Goodbye.
Oyashiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was his curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people were building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse suddenly stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood. I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving his curse from my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I would be the next target. So how do you wind up still killing your friends anyway? I know, Shion. As long as I kill you, then I won't be the one who disappears.
I mean, there has already been 2 deaths and 1 disappearance, so
Yep.
you
And as
know,
we all
just
know-
need 1 more disappearance and it'll be fine.
And we know from chapter 1, that's how Keiichi's brain works, right? Mion is taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash your hands? She said she was going to wash her hands and left and hadn't come back yet.
She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mayor after all.
I smiled wryly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no-good day. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
When Michan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter. She's told me that often.
Oh, I see. Mion was in shock too. Like his own daughter, not as in like she was his daughter. She loved him like his daughter, his own daughter, the daughter that he has. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, the shock must be 100 times worse. Sadako, as if she'd come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward.
Oh, Rika-chan's taking a while, too. Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together. Cat nap.
Oh, wait, I got that. Oh, Rika-chan is taking a while, too. Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together?
Oh, he wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying, good night, and then she fell asleep on the spot.
Now that she...
She yawns once and everybody's immediately like, off to bed with you, off to bed, go to
And
bed,
she's
good
like,
night,
no,
off to bed, bedtime.
I'm not... No... Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival as well. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that? Is there a reason old people treat her like an idol? Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something?
I don't know anything about that, but I want to see Rika-chan yawning. It's probably all like, wow. I want to take her home.
I don't personally think it's that cute. It's more of a and she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat.
Rika-chan's giant yawn.
Rena is handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Alright, I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell you if you don't do it right.
I think Sadako-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan. Giant yawn.
Can't breathe.
I got a glimpse. It was so cute. Sadako-chan's is cute too. I'm gonna take you home.
Rena was strangling Sadako. I don't think that counts as yawning. Even though Rena is, I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious, censored, isn't she? What do you mean you can't, what do you mean, Keiichi? Whatever, I'm being thick again, that's fine. Hearing Sadako made a weird noise like a chicken being strangled and was, oh, he means she's a pervert! Oh, never mind, we got there. Hearing Sadako make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building had a...
Outside the what?
Outside the kitchen. What? What's up? What's up? I've been working on my French. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big, one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also thankfully on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade, though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. Couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. If you're placed on day duty with someone who liked this sort of thing, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake. No point in blaming her. I give up, I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me.
Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Water that too, would you?
Oh, you mean the curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes, carrots, other things that are only ingredients for curry for some reason. It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but, well, making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Sadako were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring, while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. A fight to the death between the two smallest of us. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. So, where is Mion, then? Did she not come back? In that sense, Sadako's whirling elbow and Rena's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight. Even if as a result they flipped over my desk. Oh, there's my pencil box! I'll just let it happen today. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more to be done than as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too. Oh, that's such a pain, but I have a feeling it'll come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. And it's the mayor! This was a place students didn't like to go unless they were playing tag. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pill bugs being around.
Point of order. What a contradiction. Students don't like going here. There could always be slugs or pill bugs lying around. How could both of those sentences be true?
Right? Slugs and pill bugs are cool.
Did I Did I ever tell you about my pet pill bugs?
No. Tell me about your pet pill bugs.
I wasn't allowed to have pets or video game consoles growing up. So for a while, back in my hometown as a kid, I found that there were some pill bugs living under a rock in my backyard. So I snuck bits of vegetables from my lunch to them and would read up on what do bugs eat and tried to protect the rock so people wouldn't fuck with it and it wouldn't get hit by the lawnmower and stuff until there were a bunch of pill bugs under there hanging around and they were my friends and it was kind of weird. But I really liked pill bugs growing up because they rolled into balls and I thought that was very cute.
You know what? That is fair. I think I've learned a lot about you today. No, Vivian likes things that roll into balls, also known as the armadillo and or Sonic principle.
Absolutely. You understand completely.
Sonic is very cute.
However,
but only when he's rolled into a ball, like a featureless ball like he does in the early games.
Yeah. Notably, boba bugs are cute, but Keiichi bugs are terrifying. Bugs that are spindly and pointy are awful, but bugs that are orbular are good
counterpoint.
ones.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Get stick bugged.
Those are kind of scary.
What? Oh, they're the cutest. Okay, well, whatever. So when I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised. Whoa! Oh, it's Rika-chan. Wait, aren't you in the classroom?
No, that was Rena. Rena and Sadako.
Oh.
This is the first time we've seen Rika after they remarked, "Where is she? She's not in class either."
Didn't she stop by for just a moment? No, I guess Yeah, this is the first time we've seen her. Oh, hey, Rika-chan, don't scare me like that. She was just standing there like a puppet devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. She didn't even seem to react to my appearance. Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck into her hair, too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground. Rika-chan? Are you hurt? Did you fall?
No, that isn't it.
She said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and then fell off or something, did you?
Don't worry about me. I have something I want to ask you, Keiichi.
What is she like? She is blades of grass stuck to her hair. Her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground. What the hell happened to you?
Stained with dirt, recently crying.
Buried alive.
But got back out.
It
was very shallow. Only about as deep as the
got into
potatoes.
an argument with someone. They pushed her down with
Maybe.
Leon. Maybe. I don't. Who? No one doesn't love Rika.
Yeah.
Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered. What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from hers.
Keiichi, did you do something bad on the night of the festival?
My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up from my feet, and after going up to my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way into my brain.
Keiichi, do you really not remember?
My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oishi-san asked me. Shion asked me. And now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought no one knew about what we did last night, but in fact, everyone knew. They all knew, and they all came to ask me. Again and again until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, didn't Tomotage and Takano-san's deaths prove it? I think Rika might have her own reasons for thinking that, though, but...
Keiichi?
How should I respond? I never should have entered the Forbidden Storehouse. Even though I regretted it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I'd all but decided what I was going to say. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know. I've done lots of bad things, so I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. She stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me.
I'm sorry for asking you something strange. Please forget about it.
She said, smiling her usual smile. Then tap, 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 she went running off as if nothing had happened. Right, because she can read what you're thinking on your face. Like, she's like, oh, you're probably thinking I'm talking about the storehouse. No. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Rika-chan! She didn't hear my voice and I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them could just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did. Hey, Rika-chan.
What is it?
If everyone knows anyway, I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? That evening, had I done something that wrong? Felt plenty sorry about it, and I only looked anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything. Really? Still, Tomotage-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had come to such an end, there's obviously no way it would forgive only me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit what happened that night, though, she might suddenly do a 180 as if flipping a switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was just the shrine maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Ooishi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? But she didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Keiichi Maebara. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate given the crazy way that they died. A pulping machine called Chaos was grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat which began to fall.
Keiichi.
Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head.
I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi.
Rika, you are clearly the best among people here. I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head a little so her palm could reach it. She patted me kind of like one would a cat.
Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores the implements we use for rituals.
My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all.
Apparently, on the night of the festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse.
A cat?
Yes, a cat. Meow, meow.
Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so she wouldn't scare me.
The cat always wanted to explore inside the storehouse, but I was mean to it and never let it go inside.
Are you talking about Mio?
So on
Mio. Meow. Oh, fuck. I get it.
So, on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside.
The cat. It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or was it supposed to be me?
Inside, there were actually lots of things that scared the cat.
She made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me.
Boo!
Ah!
The cat was both terrified and amazed. It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible.
This cat. Who are you saying it was?
The cat is a cat. Meow, meow.
Rika-chan still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me. Again, without a doubt. You sure? Please tell me. The cat, what should it do now? Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. Sort of admitted to being the cat, hadn't I?
The cat is just a cat, so it can just keep meowing and everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine? It's stupid.
Shouldn't it just keep meowing?
Jeez, Rika-chan and I have put together an entire conversation using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now that's enough. I can't just keep meowing. The dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside.
The dog.
That's right. It was the dog. Keeps coming to the cat and trying to get it to say that it snuck inside. And Rika's like,
Woof, woof.
I don't understand what you're talking about anymore. After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I could already notice her eyes darkening. Rika-chan. The silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, she grinned.
It's all right. I'll protect the cat.
Huh? I thought for a moment that I had misheard those words, so dependable they were.
The cat is really scared, but it really isn't all that bad. I think all of the dogs are just misunderstanding.
It's not all that bad.
The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure.
Rika-chan will do something about it. I don't even know left from right at the moment, so she didn't look all that dependable.
It might be hard, but I'll do my best. Go for it. Yay!
She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika-chan said the cat can just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing?
I mean, you did come to the head of one of the 3 families. Maybe it is that easy.
It's true. Will you really be all right, Rika-chan?
If I don't do my best, then something bad could happen to the dogs, too.
What?
What does that mean?
What is that? That's the first real thing that's thrown me for a loop here. What?
Now it's like, okay, Rika knows exactly what's being talked about here, and we and Keiichi don't.
Yeah, like this is definitely where like, what are they in danger of? Hold on. I had no idea what she was talking about anymore. She had been talking to me under the assumption I was aware of certain things, so at first I understood her, and around the middle, though, I stopped understanding anything. One thing I did know was to not worry, and to leave it to her. She straightened up once again and pat me on the head and smiled. I'm rubbing dirt into your hair. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry. I'm sorry. The cat really was just a little bit of mischief. I didn't think any of this would.
It's too much of a scaredy cat. That's why it should never have seen the stork house.
She was right. It's far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. But they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it? But Sean, what'll happen to the cat? 2 of the cats that snuck in, I'd heard Tomitake-san and Takano-san's deaths were being kept a secret. She might not have known about it.
Tomitake and Takano?
I gave a start at the sudden mention of actual names. It's weird to do that at this point.
You should forget about them.
My spine froze again. Forget?
Yes. It won't do you any good to remember those 2, Keiichi. The more you think about it, the scarier it will get. So you should forget about them as soon as possible.
She said something so enormously terrifying without letting the smile on her face waver at all.
I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrubbed bathtub.
Forget Rika-chan. You know. Don't you? You know how those 2 died.
No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Keiichi.
And that's what I was saying about in the first chapter. We're putting aside why Rika knows all this. Rika declared this in a flat voice. But like I was saying, Keiichi is assuming he's involved when there are really other things in motion that he is just unfortunately adjacent to.
Yeah.
And because he can't just shut up and let things happen, he gets himself involved.
Yep.
Rika declared this in a flat voice, nothing to do with me, so forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable, and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. Don't get involved with their deaths. I'll help you, Keiichi. Those 2 contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me. What about Shion? What'll happen to her? Might have been dangerous to mention her name, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. She saw through everything anyway. There was no way I was going to fool Rika or keep anything from her at this point.
The younger of the sister cats? Meow, meow.
Is she implying that Mion went in there as well? What are you implying? The sister cats. Yeah, the little sister cat. She appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence.
The big sister cat is angry. The little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad.
So Mion is really mad at the moment. Big sister cat, that could only mean Mion. Recall being questioned by her yesterday.
Keiichi, the big sister cat is not in a good mood at all. I think we should leave her alone for a while.
Did Mion threaten Rika? Is that why Rika... Because it doesn't show up on the sprite, so it's easy to forget about it, right? But, like, let's not forget that Rika has clearly just been, like, pushed into the ground or something,
Yeah.
bullied. Like, she's still got dirt, grass, everything on her. Like, don't forget that that's happening this entire conversation.
Clearly just on the tail end of being drop-kicked over the school shed.
Right? And it's
don't worry, everything is normal.
Just got Charlie Brown and landed ass on her back, right? It's like... Not in a good mood. Those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual storehouse. No, she's not. I don't think that's what she's mad about.
Let's stop having club from now on.
Oh, why?
I think we should leave her alone.
Holy shit, angry Rika sprite. Holy shit, caught in 4K, Rika being angry. Rika-chan ended her sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Keiichi Maebara, don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me at the moment. I'll leave things to her just as she said to. She even said the cat should just keep meowing. Forget everything like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano and Tomatake and what I did that night. So then we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break. I guess we should go back to class.
Keiichi.
As if she had noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika-chan called out to stop me.
If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay?
The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute-sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one. It was the misunderstanding dog.
The dog that bit the mayor. I don't know why it did that. If it was going to bite anyone, it would have been the trickster cat first.
Dog that bit the mayor. Interesting. Should have been the trickster cat first. Trickster cat. Who's trickster cat? Trickster cat. The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. She had admitted it. The sacrifices of that terrible calamity. She admitted that if they were to happen again, it would be Shion or I. What the No! That's not... Keiichi! Ugh! I get it. You're a young kid, and you're dealing with the law right now, but...
It kind of sounds like that's what she said, though, no? Like, she was talking about the cats being the ones in the storehouse. And seems like the trickster cat might refer to the cat attempting to get into the storehouse and finding a time to sneak in.
Maybe I don't read it that way at all, but like, trickster cat. It's an interesting turn of phrase. I wonder who she is really. She would, because if it was Keiichi and Shion, it would have been one of the two cats first. If at a minimum, she's not saying it could be Shion or I. She's saying it would be someone specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And she started the cat story by talking about someone specific. One cat who'd been trying to get in for quite some time.
Oh, meow. I didn't know what was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear and nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me, or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition? I had no idea what was true. Trust the Rika. Trust her.
I'm sorry. The cat is already scared, and I said something to scare it even more. I'm really sorry.
Rika-chan bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently, almost in an urge to murder my friends. So when she reached her hand out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She made a very sad face, but I couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. I know. What if I alienate my allies? That'll work. That day, Rika-chan said she wasn't feeling up for club activities, so suggested we don't bother. There were always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. None of the others seemed really disappointed. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remembered Rika-chan's words and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though. Her behavior was the same as it always was.
So she did make it back to class.
Yep.
Eventually.
Interesting.
Took some time to go take an 8-year-old outdoors and beat her up and threaten her, maybe?
Yeah, that certainly feels like what happened. But or rather, Mion left and it looked like Rika went to confront her. Right? Because it wasn't Rika that had business outside of class. It was Mion that had something to do, and then Rika left as well. I think Rika wanted to confront her about something. It didn't go well, and now she's trying to warn Keiichi and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rika... I don't think it's that Mion sought out Rika to threaten her. I think it's Rika went to her to confront Mion. Mion reacted poorly, and now Rika's trying to protect the other people from her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the order of events here. Regardless, I think that's it for this sode, everyone.
Alrighty.
Are you having a good time?
I am.
I'm having such a great time here in Hinamizawa. Can't wait till the murdering starts again. Oh, I mean, they keep dying off screen. They don't count, right?
How many do you think we'll get in total this time?
7.
Okay. Mark that down in your copybooks.
No, 7 is the first number everyone says when they ask to pick a random number. That wasn't what I meant.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.
Hi. This is the Umineko spoiler section of the video. If you haven't played all the way through Umineko,
Do that.
I mean, first of all, do that. Spend a couple hundred hours doing that, then come back to this part and listen to it. That's what we're asking you to do right now. Or if you're listening to this in a playlist, just go ahead and skip to the next video or whatever. We don't want to spoil that for you, all right? So, let's talk about a couple things. For one, it's cute how Rika calls everyone, talks about cats, right?
Meow, meow.
Yeah. that is cute. But it's not that's a little superficial. It's not super important.
Yeah, that's the spoiler section. There we go.
That's not what it was. I wanted to talk about the one I really wanted I don't know if there was something else, but I really wanted to talk about Mion's grandmama.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What you thinking?
So Umineko kind of prepared me to interrogate this idea. Like, oh, Mion seems to be acting on behalf of and with the authority of her grandmother, right?
She's just in the other room. I can get her on the phone if you need her.
Exactly. That's my point, is that, like, she's like, I can get you on the phone if you need her, which, okay, on one hand, signals a willingness to actually go and get her. On the other hand, is she around? Does she exist? Or does she exist? Heavy air quotes. I don't know why that would be important right now. But it's something to keep in mind.
Here's one thought.
Yeah, hit me.
Actually, never mind.
Is that leading? Were you going to lead me into a thing?
Maybe not.
Okay, well, I have another thing to mention.
Yeah?
The idea, because you made I think you got too close to this earlier, and I had to censor it out. The idea of there being, like, learning that there could be multiple different shades of personas within a person. I'm like,
yeah,
like, no. I put the censor bar over that. You got.
I couldn't resist.
I know. I don't think there's any reason to believe that's the case yet. Because obviously, Sayo was taking on a bunch of different personas, not all of whom would be present at once, but like it like learning how to tangle out who refers to what is an important part of that game, right? I think we will see some of that, like obviously tangling out who is Mion and who is Shion at any given time. Especially now that they both have different things they want out of Keiichi and are both like feeling differently about him for different reasons. But I don't know that we're going to get like a 5 persona pile up like we did in Umineko. That was very specific. That was very specifically something that could happen because of the legend of Beatrice. I don't think something like that could happen in a setting like this, at least as far as I've seen yet. I do think we'll get at least one person who is 2 people, but hashtag transrena theory. Come on, gang. But I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna wind up with someone playing multiple roles like that again.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, that was it for the things I wanted to talk about related to Umineko spoilers. We're watching out for Mion's grandma to actually make an appearance. We're cognizant, but not really ready to invoke the idea that people might have more than one extra person that they are playing. And it's funny that she's talking about cats. Frederica Berncastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Go for it. Yay!